Once in a land far, far away lived a second-grade teacher, Miss Lovely Reader. She was one lovely reader. She would read books all day long if it was up to her. It was her absolute favorite thing to do. Reading was, after all, the reason she decided to become a teacher. Miss Reader wanted to share the joy she had for books with the boys and girls in her classes for many years to come. She only had one problem. She wasn't as good of a teacher as she was a reader. Teaching didn't come as naturally for Miss Reader as reading did. She knew something had to be done when Timmy Honkerson told her that he would rather hold his breath for 87 minutes than look at a book for one more second. She had to come up with a plan, but what? She did the only thing she knew how and hid the books. She read journal articles, self-help teacher books, and research education websites until she felt comfortable with the material she had soaked into her brain. Finally, it was time to set it all into practice. Miss Reader started with an explanation of the lesson objectives and their purpose to her students. This let them know that what they were doing was worthwhile. To her surprise, this small step made a big difference in the way they responded to her. She liked where this was going, and she decided to take it a step further. She had read that teacher modeling shows students that the teacher is not just making them do a task to do a task, but because it is an enjoyable task. Miss Reader knew modeling reading would be an absolute cinch for her because that was her absolute number one most favorite thing to do in the whole entire universe. To put this plan into action, she started having silent reading time for 10 minutes of class every single day, during which she read a book that she read for nothing but pure enjoyment. Within the first 3 days, the students picked up on her enthusiasm and were mirroring her passion. Even Timmy Honkerson asked if it was silent reading time yet once. Miss Reader was on a roll and liking it. It was time for teacher-guided practice. She accomplished this scaffolding her students' learning. She would provide much assistance in activities in the beginning and slowly decrease the amount of hands-on involvement she had in her students' activities. When Miss Reader did this, the literacy abilities in her classroom skyrocketed. Her students were now ready for independent practice. Miss Lovely Reader was slightly worried on the inside that she hadn't done enough to prepare her students to complete literacy assignments independently, though. Maybe she wasn't cut out to be a teacher after all. She probably should have stayed in librarian school. She would find out when she received her students' end of instruction test results. She waited nervously until finally, on one summer afternoon, they arrived. Her heart pounded as she opened the envelope. Bum, bum, bum. Best in the school!